Yeah, I was actually thinking about saying something.
Well, go ahead. See, I'm reading minds tonight, bro.
That's good.
Hey, you're on a roll, Chris.
I am.
First thing I wanted to say about was support. Support is one of those things that if you have it, great, but if not, you can't let that even enter into the situation. I've met so many people, friends, family members that didn't succeed because they felt they didn't have the support. And so I like on your Facebook page here, Chris, it says it looks like the cover of a book and it says no excuse.
Yep.
And so, if you got the support, some people support you. And earlier in your career, you have more, I think what you call them, Chris, was haters. The earlier you are in your career, you always are going to have more haters, more people that want to. I spent some time in the Philippines, and they have something there called the crab mentality. And you know what happens if you have a bucket full of crabs and one crab tries to crawl out?
The rest pull them back down.
The rest pull them back down, exactly. And it's a very prominent attitude in that country. Anybody that tries to break the mold or go out and do something, and it's a very, they all call it, it have its own Tagalog word, which I can't remember, but it means crab mentality. And it just means that if you try to succeed, if you try to, get out of basically poverty in that situation, they'll just pull you right back down. And so you've got to be determined. And every person has experienced crab mentality from either family members or friends. I would say that especially early in your career, it's very rare to have anyone support you at all, and you've got to just go out there and make it happen. And one of the best places to find people that will support you is in not network marketing, but networking organizations. And I mentioned a little bit about that to some of you guys, but other places where there's other business owners. I probably go to a breakfast or a lunch 3 or 4 times a week with a group of business owners. And they all understand the challenges associated with business ownership and the rewards too. Obviously we wouldn't do it if it wasn't rewarding. It's tremendously rewarding once you dial it in, once you get it going. But man, if without other people like-minded people, most entrepreneurship, sales is the biggest part of any venture, in my opinion, any undertaking. I think it was Brian Tracy. I don't know if you guys know who Brian Tracy is, but he's written a lot of really good books. And he says that sales is the #1 responsibility of every business owner. And so once you lose sight of sales, things happen fast. And sales is a challenging profession to have, and I think sales, I just barely finished Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he said that sales and marketing are the two most, the two elements of your personality that you need to develop the most. You can hire out just about everything else, but sales and marketing is something that you always have to have in the forefront of your mind. And sales and marketing has a tremendous amount of rejection associated with it. Anytime, and any one of us who's done sales, anytime you're selling something, you're always going to get more no's than yeses, no matter what. And you just got to, take that with what it is and not worry about whether or not people support you or not. If you do have support, that's fantastic. But I've seen too many people fail on the crutch of not being supported by their wife or their brother. It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody didn't support them and they ended up back at a job, which is frustrating. And so that was the first thing. And then the second thing I wanted to say, which was about how you dress. And the only reason I mention this is because I probably quadrupled my income overnight by changing the way I dressed. Just like you have, Chris, and I've told you the story personally once, but I was very early in my career, and I came from a background of a professional athlete inside of the extreme sports arena. And so I was very accustomed to wearing big baggy pants and oversized hoodies, everything like that. And it's funny now to look back at how I dressed professionally inside of business meetings. I'd go to business owners looking like that, and I was comfortable in that attire. And I had a CEO of a company, a big company, very large company, and I think he sold it now recently for about $30 million. But I had a tiny little office in this office complex, and he had a whole second floor. He had hundreds of employees. And for whatever reason, he took a liking to me, and he would, give me tips, and we would talk on the way out to the car at the end of the evening. And he said, one day he said, Josh, he said, you realize that if you dress professionally, you'll make way more money. And until he had said that to me, that had never triggered in my mind. I had never associated the way that I dressed with the amount of money that I could make. But the truth is, no matter what, people are going to make a split-second decision about you when they see you. And that is just a fact of life, and there's no way around it.
Yep.
And so the more professional that you can come across, and it's just, it has nothing to do with me or my perceptions. It's just you will make a better impression, and
absolutely
more opportunities to make more money. And that's
well, of course it is, because like Napoleon Hill teaches us, dress in accordance to the field of work you're in. Well, hello. Right. Well, look at us. We're entrepreneurs, and if we're going to meet at a TED Talk, I can't be wearing a cattle decapitation shirt with rotting corpses on it. Right. That's just gonna send the wrong impression. Now, I may love death and black metal and stuff, but when I'm going to meet up with potential business owners who are going to invest in the Entrepreneur Power Hour, that are going to pay Kareem and I thousands of dollars to produce videos, they're not going to take me seriously if I'm dressed wearing chains and like some death metal shirt. That's just not how it works. Now, a year ago when we first started doing this, I had that mentality where I was like, I shouldn't have to dress up and dress nice. But the reality is that I do. Because I want to make the right impression on people, and I want people like you to take me seriously. I want people like Mr. Calvin Wayman, who we interviewed last night on our radio podcast, which was awesome. I want people like him to take us seriously, Gary Vaynerchuk, and all these other awesome people that we want to connect with and have on our show. If they see me wearing stuff like that on camera, they're not going to take me seriously. Now, if they saw me in the street and we were going to a bar, or we're going to go to a strip club or something, that's different. I can wear whatever the hell I want. But when I'm in a professional arena, I've got to look the part.
Totally agree with you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I really appreciate the advice you gave me, Josh, because it's really helped me a lot, and my confidence has gotten a lot stronger because of it. And I like the way I look right now. This looks like a serious person, and I want to be taken seriously. So.
Well, I'm glad that you took to the advice, and I like I just wrote you, I've seen a major change over the course of the duration since you started. So good job, man. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. And yeah, anybody out there watching, if you want to be taken seriously in any field, you have to dress like this. It's that simple. You may not want to. It may be hard at first. You may think, well, why do I got to look like all these other people? Well, because when you're interacting with those types of people, they want to feel comfortable around you. And if you're wearing stuff like I described before, let's say you're into metal or you're into rap music and you're wearing baggy clothes, and you got like a Master P shirt on and you got your hat backwards and you're wearing sunglasses, no one's going to take you seriously. It's just that simple. You have to adapt to the environment you're in. And we talked about that before. We talked about the importance of adaptability. And that ties right into point number 5 of our discussion tonight, focusing on a higher power. So what does that mean? Well, for me, it doesn't mean that God or church. For me, faith is belief in the universe and believing in what I can achieve and how I can evolve my consciousness. So faith is very powerful, and can be a quiet refuge in a chaotic life. You don't need to believe in miracles or magical healing powers of faith or be bound by established tenets. Faith is personal, beautiful, and very comforting. It is believing in something bigger and larger than yourself and allows you to take the focus off of yourself. So do you guys think that's important as well?
Yeah,
go ahead.
We have faith right now in the power hours, something bigger than us. Yeah. Yes, we're doing it. We came up with the idea, but faith is not just going and saying specific words on. It's really getting down to, I'm going to look at something that's going to motivate me every day, that I'm going to get up for, I'm going to strive for, I'm going to work my hardest to do it. It has to be something big, great, and something that's not me. Because as far as I'm concerned, Bill Hicks was right when he said we're all one consciousness subjectively. So we're all each other. Let's look at that greater part of it instead of just focusing on, well, me, or what do I Or what do I have to follow? What's the right thing to follow? I'm going to find the right thing to follow.
Yeah, I think faith, when you're talking faith, not necessarily a higher power. I think faith in yourself. I think that is equally important, just it's, but it's also important when you're talking about faith. Like for me, I'm not any one particular view. I'm a spiritual person, so I got to have that time, whether it's an hour a night or something like that, where I just need a downtime. So to me, I think that if I take an hour just to focus on whatever kind of issue is there, I tend to lean more towards the faith side of things, and so I'll pick up a book, whatever it is, to help stimulate that faith a little bit.